What is up, guys? I'm gonna walk you guys through how I made over $35,000 in cash collected in just 1 month with a brand new offer. And there's really 3 key elements to this. And when it comes to the first element, it's going to be actually having a specific offer. So who am I able to help? What exactly am I going to teach? And how do I identify this market? So the first thing that I do is first look at what I actually know. What have I done in the past that I'm ahead of than somebody else? And for me specifically, it was initially just sales and learning how to close at a high percentage rate, high ticket offers for coaches and agency owners who have never closed a deal in their life, or maybe they have no system to actually acquire clients and maybe they're getting good lead flow. And so they're just losing a lot of money, right? That's the first way that I started. That was my initial offer about a year and a half ago. Then I've recently more adjusted it as I began to work more and more people into different categories and different sections. So now I focus more on helping coaches and agencies scale to over $20,000 to $30,000 per month using just the personal branding, setters, and ads. And so one of the ways that I've leveraged nowadays for myself was through YouTube. And so when I talk to people a little bit more about how this all works, a lot of people don't believe me, right? And especially if you guys see this channel here that I have, I probably don't get a lot of views. I probably don't have a lot of subscribers. And maybe this is like the first time you guys actually see me. So you guys are wondering, how does this guy who's not really running a lot of money on ads, generating over $35,000 per month consistently via his business? And so what I focus a lot more on, and the reason that I heavily emphasize business owners to start on YouTube, is because YouTube is very similar to Google, where when somebody searches something very specific, right, you're likely to be found. Right? There's not a lot of creators really putting YouTube content out there, and one of the biggest misconceptions that people have around YouTube is that they have to have this whole editing team, they have to have this crazy camera, they have to have all these different things and thumbnails and crazy edits within their videos. But realistically, when we're talking about business and actually content around, like, I'm just creating content very straightforward like this. I've actually been testing a lot more and seeing what actually works. And one of the biggest reasons why I use content and create content like this, which is just very raw, unedited, just me speaking what I already know, and without all these flashy edits, is because I've noticed that although whenever I actually create YouTube videos with, and even content with all these different crazy thumbnails and headlines and edits within the video, I tend to attract somebody who seeks a bit more instant gratification. Like, they stay around because of those things, the flashy stuff, not because, well, not always because of just the straightforward content. And it's interesting because I actually saw Alex Hormozi had done this exact same thing before, where he was testing and creating these really fancy edited videos, and he just ended up reverting back to raw, straightforward content because he said himself, yes, I got more views, but I actually made less money from those views than from just these very boring type of videos that attracts a specific person looking to resolve a specific problem. And so YouTube has never been easier to start for business owners. It's a very straightforward way to do things. You just simply find, let's use an example of your offer, or even mine here, helping business owners scale via content like their personal branding, ads, and setters, where all I'm going to be doing on this YouTube channel is creating specific problems that I'm resolving for that specific person. I'm not going to be creating vlogs of day in the life of a millionaire or whatever, these different things, or, you know, watch how my dog did this backflip, like none of those things. It's all just going to be very straightforward content. So it could be how to hire a high performance setter, how to manage a high performance setter, how to use your personal brand to make to make your first 10,000 a month, maybe, right? Even just with some sales stuff, right? How to close $10,000 high ticket deals for your coaching or agency offer, and then with examples, right? So these are all going to be targeted and very specific to a coach or agency owner. And so this is something that I highly recommend for you. If you're going to be creating content, just make it very boring. Don't look at the views. Like, I've actually had videos, because I keep these things tracked, where the most boring videos and the ones that don't get a lot of views actually have equated to getting some very high paying lay down sale type customers, because they become so indoctrinated, because they're just looking for the info, and they feel that based on what I was talking about in that video, they were able to get that revelation, that moment, the light bulb moment, and they're like, okay, I slowly and with more videos begin to trust this guy. So by the time that they end up booking a call, they're just like, I've watched 5 of your videos. Like I know that you guys can help me, and how do we make this work for me? And a big part to that as well is that Google study. There's this Google study that's a 7-11-4 rule, which is where people on average need to watch 7 hours of content within 11 different touch points on 4 different platforms. But I found that just between Instagram and YouTube, it's worked very well for me to get those 7 hours of content, as that's really the biggest part to it. It's not so much about the touch points or the platforms. It's more about like the actual time that they spend with you and consuming the information that you have, and then just slowly building that expertise. Because if you consider it, when's the last time you bought something over $3,000 to $5,000, right? You might have seen the ad, but you likely didn't just go ahead and book a call and just buy right away based on what they told you on that sales call. A lot of times you likely did some research, or maybe you waited, you saw some of their content, and eventually you bought. And so that's the same strategy that we're able to leverage here on YouTube. And to go a little bit more deeper on the content side, you could even start putting some of what you already have in your paid program into the YouTube content, because ultimately information is abundant, right? People can really Google, ChatGPT, anything nowadays. Doesn't mean they always get the straightforward answer, but again, this goes back to people a lot of times aren't paying for the information, they're paying for the implementation. If information was all they needed, a lot of people would already be successful, because there's a lot of things you can find online on different ways to make money. Right? But it's the actual implementation that people get stuck on, and the specificity, which is really going to allow you to bypass a lot of different coaches and other people, and that's where the personal branding side of things come in. So YouTube has never been easier. It's really just about making sure, not chasing views, finding a clear, correct audience, and just ramping things up with, we can definitely get into the ad side, right? But especially if you guys are starting with lower budgets, maybe only like of $1,000 or $500 just to initiate and get things up and running, right? The content is always going to be the follow-up. And when somebody talks about, okay, I'm trying to maximize my closes from this $1,000 per month ad spend, cool. Like if people go through your content, your material, that's going to be one of the first things they'll actually look you up on, right? So if you have it and they're building that trust, they're more likely to book, because there's going to be times through even the setting process where people don't reply to you, they ignore you. Maybe they're like, oh, well, at first I was feeling like I could trust this guy, and I don't know, maybe this isn't as important for me right now, or maybe I'll do it with somebody else. But that content is the things that, again, we want to make sure these are very hyper specific to your core audience. They'll click on the first YouTube video and be interested, and they'll be like, oh, I got a lot of value from this. And they just, there's ways to actually make them go through the content rabbit hole with you specifically. And so they're more likely to respond to you after that, and even more book a call. And by the time they book a call, they're more likely ready to buy. The people who've watched most of my content, which I've been able to track, is the people that have been like the easiest sales, the ones for my price point. Now, the second thing that has allowed me to use YouTube to scale as well, which is like the offering, the way that I structure things. So before, I used to only have one core product, but very similar to just like products in general, whether you're talking about like coffee, like coffee, or I don't know, hair products or anything, right? There's always going to be like different things that people want or need, right? Pomade, very strong hair gel or hairspray, whatever the case is. And so whenever I was trying to maximize a bit of cash, I was realizing, okay, I'm selling this, one-time 15K product with a percentage revenue share, like at the very high tier. And people, not everybody was prepared for that. And I was like, okay, I can still help this person. They're just not really there in their journey. And so one part that I use is like, okay, the content that I create helps them get to that place where they are in a position to invest with me. But I was like, okay, I can generally help somebody who maybe is in that 5K range get up to their first $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 range. Like I've done it before, right? But I just don't happen to have anything for them. And so I started to create a different pillar. And this is just a simple 2-tier pillar, which is just going to be like that hybrid offer where I'm there still involved. I have 2 one-on-ones per month. And then there's like the group sessions, the actual content, and some implementation. And then we have the high ticket product, the high tier one, right? The platinum, or whatever you want to call it, which is done for you. We do absolutely everything for you. Sales management, book your leads, close your deals, right? And that's for that higher ticket product. Right? But before, I was only using one. And so I was trying to fit everybody into that one box. And if it didn't work out, cool, we'll work together at some point if you go through my content and apply it and get results. And that's what also has allowed me to get past that 30K month, right? This is actually a slower month, $35,000 in cash this month. I spent some time away. I was with family, spending some time just traveling and just enjoying life, right? I try to keep things very streamlined and simple for the way that I do things, so that I don't sacrifice the time with the people that I care about just simply for money. At some point, you also want to spend time with those around you and, the reason you're doing it, depending on your why. And then the final thing, when we talk about organic, and so it's going to be the content. Okay, how do we get people in? If you don't have much ad spend, cool, create content, YouTube videos like these. In your description and in your comment section, pin up your actual VSL. People can go straight to it and book a call with you as they build trust. So you put it in every single video. And slowly, like somebody will, people will start booking calls with you. And then if you're running ads, then that content just helps indoctrinate people through the process to actually wanting to work with you and buy. And then the second part is just, again, having a clear core offer. I recommend if there's a way that you can structure it and not put everybody in one box, go ahead and do it. Again, it's not about trying to be all mismanaged and creating different offers, completely different things. No, it's just same thing, just maybe in a lower tier that can still benefit the person. And then the final part is just understanding where you genuinely want to go. I think sometimes people get too caught up in seeing everybody else's number that they don't spend time evaluating what they actually want out of life. Everybody's pitched like that 10K a month, then it goes up to 30K a month, then it goes to make 100K a month. But I've talked to plenty of entrepreneurs. A lot of them don't genuinely know why. They get to a point where all they wanted was a simple business model that allowed them to work with dream clients and allow them to travel, spend time with the people they care about, and do things they always enjoy. And for most people, it's like 20, 30K per month, right? Depending if you have a family, maybe more, I don't know. But for most people, it's that. And then they end up ramping up to 100K, and it's like, oh, cool, like it looks amazing, right? But now they have 6 employees, they have all these different overhead expenses on top of that, and they're stressed all the time. So yeah, getting very clear on where you want to go and what you genuinely want to do and build is going to allow you to actually have a direction. Once you have a clear direction, let's say you want to get to just 30K a month, right? And you have an offer of 5K. That means you only have to sign 6 clients per month. And so one of the things that we help clients on is the actual service delivery. So we work with 6 clients. That's not a lot of people. That's $30,000 per month, 6 clients every single month. If your price point is only 5K, that's 1 client every 5 days, right? And let's say, okay, maybe we have some ad expense and stuff, but again, you're still netting well over $20,000 per month, right? We seek to have over 75% profit margins at the bare minimum, right? So you're still looking at around $22,000 in cash collected, not in take home, 30,000 in cash collected, 20 something in take home, which is very suitable for a lot of people. But again, it's just about simplifying these numbers and actually having a clear, concise point on exactly how to do it. And so that's really all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys got a lot of value from this and see how simple it is to just scale with YouTube, with content, having a clear offer and having a clear direction as to where you want to go and what you want to do in your life. And if you guys would like to get support and guidance, one-on-one, direct help on just building this all out, if you've been struggling, you don't really have a clear direction, and maybe even a core offer that you can charge over $5,000 for, then feel free to go to the link down below and book a call. Well, if you feel that there is alignment, or subscribe, keep watching some more content, see if you can apply some of these things that we talk about here and get you up and running to your first 10, 20, even $30,000 months. So go ahead and like and subscribe if you got value from this video, or give me some comments and recommendations as to what you guys would also like to see. And I'll see you guys on the next one.